Hey guys, Marissa at KitchenTableStamper.com. Today I want to run you through this fun little pouch. It's kind of a little hanging basket. Really a fun, cute little project. I'm probably going to make this up in several different designs. It's just so cute. Inside the pouch are 4 of these little chocolate carrots. It actually holds quite a bit of goodies. And we're going to also make a coordinating card and envelope. So I got a lot in store for you here today. Let's get started. We'll talk first about the Stampin' Up! Products that you need and the consumable materials, cardstock, and measurements. To make this fun little pouch, you will need the Stampin' Up! Popcorn box Thinlits dies. We're going to use this popcorn box in a little new and different way. And then I also used the Basket Bunch bundle. It consists of the Basket Bunch stamps and the Basket Builder Framelits dies. My ink pad today is Stampin' Up! Pumpkin Pie. You can also use some wild wasabi if you've got that one. I don't, so I'm going to bring in my many marvelous markers and grab the wild wasabi one. This comes in handy time and time again as I'm building my collection with Stampin' Up! I've got a couple of washi tapes. This one is from Affectionately Yours, and this one from the Playful Palette, and a couple of trims. I have the mini pom-pom trim and Cucumber Crush thick baker's twine. Okay, so for the pouch, you need a piece of crumb cake that's 5 1/4 by 5 1/4. That's for the pouch itself. And for the handle, I have 5 1/2 by 3/8. For the decorative paper on the front, I have Affectionately Yours Designer Series paper. This one is 2 3/8. No, I'm sorry, this one is 3 inches by 5 1/4. It probably could have been a little bit shorter, but that's what this one is. You'll also need some paper for your tag. This is from the Carried Away Designer Series paper, and this Carried Away piece is 1 1/4 by 4 1/2, and you need a Whisper White piece about the same size. That'll give you 2 tags, one for your 2 tags and one of each, one for your project and one for your card. So we'll do some of that die cutting on video. I did some ahead of time to save time. For the little carrots, I cut these ahead of time, stamped them and cut them. You need 5 to do both of the projects in the envelope. So I did 4 ahead of time. We'll just do 1 together today, but you'll need a piece of orange. This is Pumpkin Pie, and it's 1 1/2 by 4 1/4. And you'll need a piece of Pear Pizzazz, and this one is about 2 1/2 by 2. We'll get you all the little leaves you need for your carrots. The pieces for the card are crumb cake, and this measures, I had to trim it down. I usually do a 1/2 of a medium-sized envelope and then a 1/2 of a A2 size card. But because this card is so bulky with the pom-pom trim, I had to cut it down a little bit. So these measurements are just a little bit, a smidge smaller than 1/2 a card. So you'll start with 8 1/4 by 2 5/8. And then I've got a piece of the Designer Series paper, Affectionately Yours. This one measures 2 3/8 by 3 3/4. And I already touched on this. This is a medium size envelope, and I just cut it right in half. Okay, so I'm bringing in my Stampin' Pierce mat, and I've got my cardstock Pumpkin Pie, and I've got my Pear Pizzazz, and we're going to go ahead and stamp this last little carrot. I've already made 4 of these, so we're just going to walk through one. I stamped Pumpkin Pie on Pumpkin Pie, got a little carrot there. I'm going to clean my stamp thoroughly, and with my wild wasabi marker, I'm going to just ink up the leaves. And I'll stamp the leaves on the pear pizzazz. Okay, I think we're ready to do a little die cutting now. So I've brought in my Big Shot and the dies that we're going to use, and we'll start with our little carrot, but while we're at it, let's cut the tags that we're going to need. So I have those little pieces of Carried Away and Whisper White, and I'm gonna just stack those guys up because we can easily cut 2 layers with Stampin' Up! Dies. And we're going to use the tag from the popcorn box thinlits, and we'll cut 2 of those at one time. Okay, so we have our little orange carrot here. We'll set that aside, and 2 tags. I've cut the other 2 tags ahead of time for you. So we're gonna have to run this carrot through the machine again. This time we're just cutting out the leaves. Okay, since we have the Big Shot out, I'd like to just keep die cutting. So we've got the 5 1/4 inch square crumb cake, and we're going to run through our popcorn box die. And we'll set this aside for 1 minute. Now we've got our piece of Affectionately Yours, and this is the one that measures 3 inches by 5 1/4. And what we want to do is line it up so that one or the other panels cut and score. We don't need the whole box, just one entire panel. And this is the piece that we get. It's got all of the score lines here so that we can see where to cut. So we're going to cut that down in just a minute. We're scoring 8 1/4 inches. So we need to score at 4 1/8 instead of 4 1/4. And that's just really easy to do right here on our Stampin' Trimmer. So we've found the 4 1/8 mark, the light blade scores, and we'll just gently score there and work that in half with our bone folder. So now we've got our tiny card and our half an envelope. Let's see how perfect that is. That's really a cute, fun size. All right, we'll get back to this in just a second. Okay, before assembling, we have just a little bit more stamping to do. We're gonna stamp our Thanks a Bunch tags right now. Okay, so we've got our Whisper White tags already cut and Thanks a Bunch greeting. What I want to do now is ink up Thanks A and keep Bunch off the edge of the pad so that there's no ink on it. We're going to stamp Thanks A high of center and to the right, and do that again. Then we'll clean and dry our stamp. And this time we're going to ink up just the word Bunch. And with the clear polymer, it's really easy to see. Just keep Thanks A off the edge of the ink pad and you'll be fine. Now we have 2 really cute Thanks a Bunch tags. Let's layer these tags up with their pattern tag and punch a hole. Got a 1/8 inch hole punch here, and we're going to go ahead and just punch right like that, both sets of tags. Okay, so our little orange carrot here, we've got 4 already made. Let's assemble this little guy. Going to trim your carrot so that you've got just leaves. And then I've got some some multi-purpose glue. Add a little bit on the orange leaves, and then we'll just line up the little green leaves on top. I've brought my washi tape back in here, and we're going to use these real quick to put together our envelope. So we've got this half an envelope with one side open. Let's grab our Affectionately Yours washi tape, This is the Cucumber Crush pattern. We'll open up the envelope, and working from the back side so you can see where the pocket starts, you'll run a line of the Affectionately Yours washi tape so that it hangs halfway off. Snip it along the bottom of the envelope and then fold and burnish. Now you have a useful envelope again. Isn't that cute? And a perfect little size. Let's grab a little bit of this Peekaboo Peach to embellish. And that little carrot that we made. Add a little liquid glue to the back of there. And as you can see, there's our medium envelope when you put it back together. Okay, set those aside for a minute. On our card front, we can take the Affectionately Yours Designer Series paper, and I like some tear and tape or some sticky strip here because this edge is going sandwiched in between cardstock. So the sticky strip, the tear and tape, they're a little bit wider than this pom-pom fringe, than the edge of this pom-pom fringe, which doesn't matter because that strong adhesive is going to bind to the card. So we'll lift the sticky and add this trim to the bottom of the card. Okay, trim the excess. Whenever I've got multimedia, like ribbon or twine or something in between the layers, I like a little fast fuse. It gives a stronger bond. And then we'll center this right, left, and top and adhere. Got one of those Thanks a Bunch sets of tags and some Cucumber Crush baker's cord here, baker's twine. And we're gonna go inside the card. In your left hand, you're gonna leave a substantial tail there for tying. We're gonna wrap around the card in a crisscross pattern and then trim off the excess. Then we'll tie this over and under to secure. And we're going to bring these two tails through the tag. Now what I like to do here is grab just a little piece of washi tape, wrap these two tails together, so we're making like a shoelace. And then it makes it super easy to just thread these two tails on, or these two tags on over the two tails. You didn't have to fuss with it, you didn't have to shred your twine, it's just done. Then you tighten the bottom, pull the tails through nice and tight. And cut off the washi tape. Now tie your bow. Okay, so let's trim the excess. And get some dimensionals. I'll put one dimensional on both of those tags and then just stick that down where I like it. From the edge, I'm cutting off some thin strips for the back of the carrots. Got one with dimensional adhesive and one with multi-purpose. So there's our cute little thanks a bunch cards in envelopes. Now let's put together our little treat here. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is go back to this cucumber crush piece that we cut. And I'm going to pull in the trimmer here because I want to get a nice straight cut. And we're going to cut off the tabs and we're going to trim the paper down just a little bit so that we can layer it on the front and leave a nice border of crumb cake showing. So first I just want to roughly trim off the tabs that we don't need, and then we'll go in and get a straight cut. We're taking about 1/8 of an inch off of each side. Okay, so there's our decorative panel. Let's put together our treat, but the first thing we're going to do is trim off one of these tabs. We just don't need it. And that's become the front of our little pouch. We'll work all these score lines here. And add adhesive. So you can see where I've put the adhesive. Let's assemble our little pouch. Okay, so when we assemble, we want to make sure that our side tab here tucks in underneath our bottom tab. Otherwise, our bottom will be open. And then make sure that that tab is strongly adhered inside of there. Okay, now on to decorating the front here. This is going to get stuffed with treats, so I want a strong adhesive. I'm using a little fast fuse. And we're going to center this. See how now, since we've trimmed it, we have a nice border all the way around. Add our tags and our trim. We'll do the tags the same way we did with the card. We'll wrap the cucumber crush twine twice, slide the ends through the tag and tie a bow and then secure it with a glue dot. Okay, so I've done my tags up the same way, and now let's add the handle and the treats. Okay, so my treats are these little double crisp Palmer's carrots. I find them everywhere this time of year, Dollar Tree, Walgreens, and we can fit 4 of those in there. Now we're going to adhere our handle, and we just want to work the fibers of this cardstock so we get a nice round handle. We don't want it to have a fold at the top. And then we'll take a mini glue dot into the outside of this curve. We're going to add a little mini glue dot. Okay, so we've got our glue dots. Let's tuck our little handle in. And then lastly, we got this little pom-pom trim. And I left it right on the bolt, and I started at the back with about 1 little pom-pom on the back of the basket. What I did was added my little liquid glue and a small bead all the way around. So you'll want to hold the trim as you apply it around the basket. Then when you get to the place where it ends, you snip it off, and then you're going to just have to keep on tacking it down and holding it until it makes its final grip on the basket. So here's where we'll just be patient. Okay, so I've held it for a few seconds and it's starting to really grip. Where the two ends overlap, I'm going to add just a little bit more glue. Tack that end back in and hold them together. Trim into the glue. There it is. Set it aside to dry. And there's your two buckets. Aren't they cute? All right, if you've got any questions about making these little buckets or coordinating cards, if you've got any questions about Stampin' Up, if I can do anything for you, email me, Marissa@kitchentablestamper.com. Thanks for watching.